An unarmed individual is a subject.
Take it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to have my next guest here on the Steadfast and Loyal podcast. You know, he's someone that I grew up listening to on the radio, and then I had the distinct honor and pleasure of serving with him on the National Rifle Association board. Some people know him as the Motor City Madman. There's nothing mad about Ted Nugent. He is one of the most intellectual and articulate speakers on individual rights, freedoms, liberties, and our Constitution. So I'd like to welcome Ted Nugent to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast. How you doing, sir? Where are you located now? Are you in Texas or Michigan?
Well, Colonel West, it's my honor to remain steadfast and loyal as you have been to this American dream, and I to you, sir. I'm in a sacred barn in a sacred swamp in the wilds of Michigan with my dogs Happy, Sadie, and Coco. We've been out setting traps today and putting in food plots. Had a beautiful big lightning and thunderstorm last night.
Nice.
So, I played my guitar. I got out some of my old guitars here in the barn, and with a concrete floor and all these beautiful dead animals on the wall and guns and ammo and bows and arrows, I'm telling you, if I was any happier, I'd squirt through this apparatus into your studio with you.
That's pretty awesome. Hey, you know, let's talk about what's going on right now. The whole theme of this podcast this week is about this gun control issue and how we saw this legislation that got passed through the House of Representatives, and then we saw this quote-unquote framework that's being put together in the United States Senate. You've been a champion for the Second Amendment and for individual rights, freedoms, and liberties for so long. Have you ever seen it be this bad as it appears to be right now?
Alan, I could cry tears of blood for you. My heart is so shattered at the runaway criminality and corruption, the abject dishonesty by our government. It so hurts to have to say those words, but unfortunately the evidence is irrefutable. And no, in the world of individual freedoms, especially those outlined in those sacred documents, the Constitution, particularly the First and Second Amendment, which is the foundation for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, I have never seen such treachery. I have never seen such soullessness to literally walk on the corpses of innocent victims and turn it into a political theater. And let me make it perfectly clear. I think the most powerful words we can share tonight, because I have been on the front lines of the Second Amendment fight since the 1960s, because the hippies and the music industry, the entertainment industry would attack me because I would celebrate a great weekend with my dad and my brothers, aim small, miss small, marksmanship, discipline, that great outdoor shooting sports heritage of America. And some of these interviewers would get all angry at me because I'm promoting gun ownership. And I would very calmly express to them, which, by the way, the vast majority of the radio listeners in those different interviews would support, that self-defense is perfect. And carrying a gun to protect your sacred gift of life from God is not only perfect, but it's intellectually, and I believe constitutionally, surely, but spiritually an obligation. We have a duty to save this life that God gave us and to neutralize evil that would threaten this life. So I've been on those front lines, so I've had to deal with the Clinton gun bans and the attempt for Saturday night special bans, which included all handguns, the actual language of these bills, and watching my friends in Canada bend over to this Fidel Jr. tyrant up there, where he lists lever action 30-30s as assault weapons. So go to today here in America. There is no new gun law that will save any lives. If you ban them today, if you ban a certain caliber, if you ban capacity magazines today, there are hundreds of millions of them out there. And just to clarify with more evidence, do you think Kalashnikov machine guns are available to citizens in France? No, the answer is, but they use Kalashnikov machine guns in Paris, France, breaking hundreds and hundreds of gun laws to hose down innocent concert goers with real AK-47s. My point is that when you engineer recidivism and you ignore danger signs and warning signs and threats, repeated threats over and over, and then you create soft targets, then you defund the police, then you make it almost impossible for citizens to defend themselves, that's the perfect storm for evil to do what they damn well please to innocent citizens. So these are treacherous times. And Alan, everybody listening, if they believe their gift of life is worth protecting, be sure you're an NRA member, a Gun Owners of America member, United States Concealed Carry Association, your state Second Amendment organization. Strength in numbers will push back on these counterproductive increased gun laws that will actually cause the loss of more innocent life, Alan.
No, you're absolutely right, and I find it somewhat disconcerting and disingenuous when you look at the framework that they propose, but it has nothing to do, would not have stopped what happened in Uvalde. And you and I have been through the 4473 background check so many times. But yet here in Uvalde, the shooter was living in the home of a grandfather who had a criminal record, that could not purchase firearms, could not have firearms anywhere around him. That was the address that was put down on his form, but yet no bells and whistles went off. The fact that 5 or 6 visits to his home by law enforcement, no bells and whistles go off. But now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that legal law-abiding gun owners, responsible gun owners, are the problem.
Well, I've heard so many examples that just crushes these gun grabber, anti-freedom, anti-Second Amendment goons. And that one of the most glaringly obvious is, do you stop drunk driving by taking the driver's license away from sober drivers? I mean, you've just got to be kidding me. Everybody knows that Hunter Biden committed a felony on his application form 4473, and the Secret Service covers up for him. The ATF doesn't move on it. So we have a runaway recidivism orgy going on in this country that is the core of 96%, and those aren't my numbers, those are the recent FBI uniform crime report, because I think there's still a few good FBI agents out there. And every one of these proposals, who can't tell that Uncle Sam, under the control of Joe Biden and his gang of oath-violating traitors, who can't tell that their clear goal is to control American citizens, and the only way to do that, just like all the tyrants and emperors and gangsters in the past, disarm the people, and they will have to comply with immoral laws, illegal laws, and anti-constitutional laws. We are at a crossroad here right now. And if people don't stand up, and again, I'm going to say it, you can't just agree with truth, logic, and common sense. You've got to be a member of the NRA, Gun Owners of America, United States Concealed Carry Association. They have people on the front lines every day, like you and me, that are fighting to identify the counterproductivity of increased gun laws, when, by the way, Alan, according to my law enforcement friends in Baltimore and Chicago and Detroit and New Orleans and Los Angeles and San Francisco, thousands and thousands of smoking gun criminals, they were caught with the illegal gun, using it illegally, carrying it illegally. Most of them were felons that weren't even allowed to touch a gun or get downwind of a gun, and they dropped the gun charges, Alan. They're not enforcing the laws we already have.
No, you're absolutely right. And the other thing, when you look at a place like New York City, Los Angeles, and we just saw the district attorney in San Francisco get recalled, we got a problem with these people that are supposed to be upholding the law and protecting the citizens and being ideological, and they're releasing these violent criminals back onto the streets. And the cities that you just named are the cities with some of the most stringent gun control laws out there. But again, the criminal element, the gang element, are the ones that are finding the means by which they can illegally possess guns, but yet, what a great parallel. You don't go and take the license away from the sober drivers because of what is happening with the drunk driver. We did not go after the automobile manufacturer of the person that drove the SUV through the Christmas Day parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin. But yet we see everybody now wants to go after the gun owner. So now they want to go after Daniel Defense because somehow this person who should have never had the ability to acquire a firearm in Uvalde gets to get a firearm. And so again, this is no different from the British when they were marching inland on April the 19th of 1775 to destroy a weapons and armament factory that was supplying the Sons of Liberty.
Well, Alan, I hope people listening right now, they memorize these bullet points. There's a play on words that's accurate as can be. But we have to communicate with our mayors, our senators, our congressmen, our governors, our chief of police, our state trooper commander, our sheriff. We, the people, have to let the people in positions of authority who we hired to represent us based on that oath to the Constitution. And when you infringe on law-abiding Americans to keep and bear arms, the person infringing is the criminal. Let me make a real important point that I've never heard anybody make. I've studied the rate of fire, the calibers, the weapons used, the individual, all the way back to Virginia Tech, Columbine, Sandy Hook, Parkland, El Paso, now Uvalde. I even got some inside information from Bernie Carrick on Buffalo. Do you know, Alan, everybody better memorize this, the AR platform played no role whatsoever in the body count. And let me explain, because the hyper lying by the media, the rate of fire in each instance, much like Libby's Cafeteria in Killeen, Texas, the rate of fire had nothing to do with semi-automatic. I have studied the rate of fire in all these mass shootings. A person with no training, with a single shot, break open 20 gauge with a load of buckshot, the time nobody's resistance, they can open, load, close, kill, open, load, close, kill. This whole hysteria about the AR and semi-automatics, it's smoke and mirrors. The people who are focusing on that clearly don't want to save any innocent lives, because it has nothing to do with rate of fire. It has nothing to do with caliber or ballistics or velocity. It has everything to do with gun-free zones where our society has created the sitting duck dream for evil people. So let me crescendo here. I've been on a crescendo since about 1948. But here's the point we need to make. All those victims had one thing in common. Even some of the brave people and some of the brave law enforcement who tried to neutralize the threat, they weren't adequately trained, or they would have gone for headshots. My point being, I think somebody's calling my barn. My point being is that don't be unarmed and helpless. You should carry a gun. You should keep and bear arms, because if you're unarmed and helpless, I can promise you, you are unarmed and helpless, and evil people are looking for you, and our failed court system guarantees that there's evil, dangerous, violent criminals everywhere. Yeah. And if you're unarmed and helpless, they will find you, and you will be a sitting duck. Here's an Uncle Ted tech tip. Don't be a sitting duck. Is your life not worth the little effort, the minor effort of learning how to handle a small revolver and keeping it in your pocket? Is that asking too much to celebrate another birthday or an anniversary or a Thanksgiving with your family? America, arm up.
You bring up a great point, and I get this visual of what happened in Uvalde. And it brings me back to the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia, regulated meaning trained, that the militia is us, and the right of the people to keep and bear arms that shall not be infringed. When I looked at those parents there in Uvalde, begging government, the law enforcement officers, who are armed to go in there and do something for their children. To me, that's the whole purpose of the Second Amendment. That's the whole purpose of us, the well-regulated, trained militia, because if those parents show up and they are trained and they are responsible, legal law-abiding gun owners, and they say, step aside, we're going in there to protect our children. When I saw that video of the mother who was handcuffed, and then when she was uncuffed, she ran into that school to get her 2 children. That to me is the reason why we have the Second Amendment, because we are the first line of defense, as you said, for ourselves.
I've always been my first responder. I enjoy firearms. I'm a hunter and a fisherman and trapper, even though the Second Amendment has absolutely nothing to do with recreation. It had nothing to do with sport. The Second Amendment is about self-defense of a society against a tyrannical government that abuses its power and everyday self-defense. But let me clarify, I don't need to know the families that are crying that have lost a loved one to have empathy. Shemaine and I and everybody I know, we were together down there in Uvalde. Mm-hmm. We know those people. We know that good mayor. We know those law enforcement heroes and those border patrol heroes down there. We spent the day with them. Mm-hmm. We were on the front lines. We were on the border with these guys. So we have kind of an educated flesh in the game. But stop and think, you're a parent. I'm a guitar player, but first and foremost, I'm a husband, a father, a grandfather. I'm a neighbor. I'm an American. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a band. I run a hunting operation. I write New York Times bestsellers to try to figure that one out. The point being is that who could possibly think, what man could approach you or me or any free human and tell us if we can defend ourselves, or maybe where we can or cannot defend ourselves, or how we can or cannot defend ourselves? I'm telling you, all the treachery we witness right now has manifested itself in the maniacal attempt to disarm Americans because we're taxed and we give billions of dollars of state-of-the-art military weaponry to the Taliban. Did you vote for that? I didn't vote for that. I worked very hard to pay for my taxes, and I didn't pay taxes to enrich and arm our enemies. And we could go on with the abuse of power out there, but there is a time and a system by which we can take this country back. And I'm going to drop a website, hunternation.org. Please, my friends, write it down. Join me there. hunternation.org. It's a clearinghouse, an epicenter, a circling of the wagons for American families who are fed up with the criminal abuse of power and the treachery that being inflicted on the middle class, and the gas prices and the food shortage and the baby formula shortage and an open border and a government, the United States government, importing fentanyl across an open border, slaughtering Americans. Alan, we have to demand legal votes, and we have to vote. If the real conservatives, that we call it hunternation.org, because we found out that so many licensed hunters who are the pillar of conservative values, so many didn't vote. They weren't even registered to vote. So we made a difference in 2016. Believe me, we made a difference in 2020. We made a difference in Virginia. We made a difference in San Francisco with the callback of this prosecutor that was on the side of criminality.
Yes.
So if we're not voting those core values, God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule, that man in the arena work ethic, law and order, no more smash and grab, no more stabbings, no more cold cocking by recidivistic monsters. We can stop this if we vote in constitutionalists. hunternation.org.
Absolutely. Now, let's
turn off the compressor.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm in a workshop here, Alan. The
Well, that's okay.
going off, the phones are going off, the air conditioning's going off. But that's why you love me, because I'm down to earth and I
Absolutely.
do podcasts from my barn.
This is not canned. Well, let's switch, a little bit. And let's talk about the fact you're about to hit the road again with a new album, Detroit Muscle. Am I correct?
Yeah, I've got a great band. Jason Hartless on drums and Greg Smith on bass. In fact, the Nugent band is going to descend on Minnesota this Saturday because who are you going to call, Alan, if Federal Ammunition Company is having its 100-year anniversary? I think I'm the ballistically coefficient guitar player for the Federal Ammunition 100-year anniversary, but we are going on the road with a brand new killer rhythm and blues rock and roll firestorm called Detroit Muscle. My guys put their heart and soul into every lick, every night, every concert, and we'll be on the road for about 6 weeks in July and August. And then I will cleanse my soul during the bow hunting season. But yeah, this is going to be a great rock and roll year. I hope that diesel isn't $20 a gallon by the time we get out there.
Yeah, that's incredible what's happening. And one of the songs that, part of this new album is based upon those incredible words that were spoken October the 2nd, 1835 at Gonzales, Texas. Tell us about the song Come and Take It.
Well, I'm a instinctive guy. I never went to college. I was too busy learning important stuff. And I've always been gregarious. I have a lot of friends. I know all these people in the music industry and the hunting industry and the off-road industry and the farming industry and the ranching. And I have a good core circle and a very vast core circle, as you witnessed when we were together doing the Border Patrol. There's a love affair between people that put their heart and soul into being the best that they can be. And again, I mentioned farmers, ranchers, cops, teachers, hardware store operators. So when I get my guitar on, I'm surrounded by some killer guitars right now, and I start playing, and I do interviews every day, and I identify the violation, the criminality of infringing on our right to keep and bear arms. So sometimes, let's say I just got done kissing Shemaine, I would probably write a song called Wang Dang Sweet Poontang. But when I get done doing an interview and talking about the oath violating by our government and the dishonesty of the media and Walt Disney going to the dark side, sometimes those spirits and that attitude comes out in a song. So I started cranking on this lick that said, come and take it, go ahead and try, go ahead and die. And it's about freedom. And we met him at the Concord Bridge, and we climbed up Iwo Jima. Mm-hmm. And we got this freedom on the blood and guts of warriors who fought evil on our behalf. So I wrote a song called, Don't You Even Try It, Don't You Tread on Me, You Can Do or Die in the Land of the Free, Come and Take It. And then live in the concerts, we changed the lyrics to Let's Go Brandon and a few other choice street terms. But the second verse goes, no more kings, no tyrants, no more jackboot thugs. We will unleash violence for the freedom that we love. It's a serious song. It's a fun song, believe it or not, because it's high energy and the guys just pound like Motown Funk Brothers on backstraps. But the album is full of all kinds of different songs, but that was the first song we released because I saw what was coming. I saw the dishonesty of our government and their knee-jerk reaction to infringe. They're not allowed to infringe. You guys need to go after the bad guys and go after people who threaten people. Leave the rest of us the hell alone. So the love song, Come and Take It, it erupted, and the guys started playing with me, and we recorded it, and it's one of the most popular songs on the record. Well,
we look forward to hearing that, and as a matter of fact, we're going to try to incorporate that into this podcast when it comes out.
You're welcome to use it anytime you want for whatever reason you want. It's really a great song at a barbecue, by the way.
All right, we'll do that. Other than hunternation.org, where can people follow you? Where can people get information about the upcoming Detroit Muscle Tour?
Well, I have a great website, tednugent.com, and I had an assembly line here again today. I signed a bunch of guitars and amps and guns and bows and ammo and stuff for various military and law enforcement and children's charities. But I've also been signing thousands and thousands of a hat that says, come and take it. So you can go to tednugent.com and you can get a personally autographed Come and Take It, or I will not comply hat. You know, two beautiful little gestures of rugged individualism and we the people not letting anybody tread on us. So tednugent.com will give you all the information you need for a great, great summer.
Well, I appreciate you being on the Steadfast and Loyal podcast. And remember, as Thomas Jefferson said, it's about the consent of the governed, and it's about the laws of nature, and nature's God. And all of our rights come from the Creator God, not just our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, but also our property. And the very first inalienable right is life. And it's so important. The Second Amendment enables us to protect our life, our families, and that way of life. So God bless you. Thank you so much, Ted Nugent, for being with us, and safe travels out there on the road.
Thank you, Colonel Alan West. And from we the people out here on the not so mean streets of America, thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifices and your dedication and the risks that you take and that you continue to do for this great nation that has gone asunder. And we thank you so much for putting your heart and soul into making America great every day. God bless you and Godspeed.
Yes, sir. Give my best to Shemaine.
I bet you, and our love to your family and everybody out there. God bless you.
Roger that. Bye, sir.